So hi guys, today I want to talk to you about something different than staffing and recruiting because maybe it will add value to you and I hope it's entertaining and interesting to you. I want to tell you my story in real estate and how I got to own 4 properties debt-free in real estate. Let me go back a little until you probably know who I am. You've been watching me. So my name is Dmitry. I own New Config, an IT recruiting and executive staffing agency. We staff people all over the country, all over Canada. We have 1.7 million in revenue in 2022. There's 10 people working for me. There's 11 of us. You know my story if you watch my other videos, how I grew the organization from a one-man shop to 11 of us today. But today I'm going to talk to you about real estate. And my side hustle, something that I enjoy doing, is real estate. And I have 4 properties that I own debt-free. There's no debt in my properties. I own 2 duplexes, I own a condo, and I own a townhome. My story started in 2015 when I started New Config. Well, I started New Config in 2012. 2015 is actually when I started making more money at New Config. When we passed about, I was still a one-man shop, but I passed about 200, maybe 250 in revenue, and I had some cash. At that point, I owned a townhome, and I paid it off. I had a mortgage on my first property, a townhome, and I paid it off. And I was living in it. And as New Config kept growing, and my profit in New Config kept growing, most of the profit I would put back into New Config, into my IT executive sales and finance staffing agency. That's why there's 11 of us here. But some of the profit I put into real estate. What I like about real estate is that it's cash flow. Unlike staffing, when we do full-time placements, and every placement we get a percentage of the fee, percentage of the base salary as our fee, but every placement is another at bat. I feel like I'm a baseball player if I'm a new at bat, and if I don't score, if I don't hit a single, double, triple, or home run, I strike out, and I don't make any money. What I liked about real estate as an investor is cash flow. I rent it out. I rent out the real estate to another a couple, a family, and every month I get cash flow, $500, $1,000 or more every month coming into my pocket without doing much work. Yes, there's maintenance. If something breaks, I go there. That is why all 4 of my properties, I have 4 properties, 2 duplexes, so 6 doors, 6 families. So they're all close by, so if anything breaks, I'm right there, or I have a handyman that helps me come by and they fix things up. And that's why they're all close by in the greater Philadelphia area, about half an hour drive or less from my office. But that rarely happens. And that's what I like about real estate. There's cash flow. I get money in every single month. No matter if I was a good in my job and staffed people, or if I did not staff people, if things broke and I fixed it, no matter what, I still get my cash flow every month. I love the first of the month now because I get cash flow, I get paid every single month. That is what I like about real estate. And that's why I kept investing in real estate. In 2018, I bought 2 properties. I rented out a townhome. In 2018, I bought a duplex and I bought a condo, and I rented them out. And I had 4 families living in my properties, and all debt-free. And then in 2020, I bought my latest duplex, and I rented it out. And I bought it with a mortgage, but I don't feel comfortable with debt. I don't have debt. I don't like debt. And I paid it off. I paid it off within 6 months. And right now I have 0 debt, 0 property debt on my real estate investments. So they're all paid off 100%. And every month I just get cash flow. Every month I get paid. Yes, I have to have insurance on the properties, a homeowner's insurance. Yes, if anything breaks, I have to pay a handyman. And yes, I have to pay taxes on him. But other than that, the rest is profit. Oh, and something I forgot to tell you, I'm not a slumlord. every time I buy a new property, I invest at least 20 to 30,000. In the last two duplexes I bought, I have two duplexes. In the duplexes I bought, and the condo, and actually the townhome after I moved out, I totally renovated the place. Totally. Brand new kitchens, brand new appliances, brand new spotlights, renovated the floors, new fans, new refrigerator, everything's painted, freshly painted. I did additions, I did new bathrooms, everything's beautiful, gorgeous. Why? Because I don't have a property management firm managing them, because if I did, they would take 10% of my cash flow, and I'm not big enough yet that I need to give them. I think once I get to 10, 15 doors, then, or 10, 15 families living in my properties, then I will rent them out. Then I'll get a property management company. But I have not done that yet. So I don't want to pay a property management company. And plus I want my tenants to live in a nice place. The nicer the place, if everything's new, the less phone calls I get because everything's new. And it's much easier to rent out a property that is brand new and everything is newly renovated, and you could charge a lot more money for it. So that is what happened. That's why I have 4 properties. That's why I like getting a cash flow every month. But then I get a lot of interest. I got a lot of people asking me, Dmitry, first of all, I get asked this: where did you get the money to buy these properties in cash? Easy answer. I run a very successful staffing agency that makes 1.7 million a year in revenue, and I take some of the profit, maybe 10, 15, maybe 20%, so sometimes 30. Well, it depends if it was a good year, but no more than that. And I put into the properties. But it's circa, as you know, 2023. I haven't bought a property in 3 years because the prices are just ridiculous. As an investor, I'm looking for a cap rate of about 10%. I want a return of 10% of my money, which is hard to do when the prices are so high in the Philadelphia area. So I haven't bought since September of 2020. That's one question I get asked, where I get my money. The second question I get asked is, Dmitry, why don't you use debt? You could have, instead of having 4 properties, you could have 10 properties with all that cash. But then I would have 10 mortgages. And what people don't think about in real estate is debt is risk. Debt is a lot of risk. And that is how some people like Dave Ramsey, who is a huge speaker, now worth $800 million, who talks about zero debt, and I follow him, that's how he went bankrupt. Because the bank just took the properties back when they needed the money on him. And that happens. Debt increases risk. It also increases reward. Because if you have one property you could buy for $100,000, it increases the value to $200,000. You made $100,000. But if you have 10 properties worth $100,000, increases the value to $200,000. You made $1 million, not $100,000. But again, you have a lot more risk. And no one in real estate really talks about that. Debt is risk. Debt is a lot of risk. And I want to minimize my risk. I just want the cash flow. I'm an investor. I'm not doing this as my full-time business. It's a side business for me. And it generates so much money now. I only have 4 properties because I don't have any mortgages on them. I could actually retire on it with just 4 properties. I think it generates me, after I pay my insurance and after I pay my taxes, it generates me about close to $80,000, which is a really nice retirement income. I could just retire on the money right now at 37. I'm not going to do that. I'm still building my portfolio. I'm building an empire here. But I could. And it's better than most pensions. All you got to do, if I want, I could just get a property management company that watches over it. They take 10%, so then I make $72,000 a year. Then I have to pay taxes on it. After I pay taxes on it, I'll probably make about $50,000 a year. But it's just like having a $72,000 W-2 job on my 4 properties, if I had a property management company managing it. But I don't. I make even more. So it's really good income. It's better than a pension. And I do it without debt. When I went to college and I studied stocks and options, we talked about delta, and delta was risk. In real estate, all these real estate agents that try to sell you, they try to sell me and they fail, the keyword try, because they talk about debt, that you should take on as much debt as possible. And they don't talk to you about that debt is risk, and the more debt you take on, the more risk you have. I don't like too much risk. I'd rather take on risk that I could control. That's just my personality type. I don't like taking on risk that I can't control, because worst case, they take my house and I renovate it. I put in a lot of time and money into renovating those places, and the time investment, I don't want them to take it. I don't take on risk in terms of debt into my places, into my property. Another thing I want you to realize in this conversation, middle class people buy real estate. And there's a lot of middle class, upper middle class people that become extremely rich in real estate. And they become rich. You could become wealthy in real estate. Those people, they take on a lot of risk in real estate. You can't become very wealthy. You can, but you can't become really wealthy with real estate if you do it the way I do it. You could become semi-wealthy because I buy a property every 1 or 2 years, and that's good enough for me. If you want to become really rich, you have to take on a lot of risk. And that means you could actually go bankrupt and lose those properties, which I'm not willing to do. The way to become really rich is, in my view, a good way, a better way than taking on that risk is buying businesses, running businesses. Rich people, wealthy people, billionaires, they don't gamble. They create value by creating businesses. You buy a real estate property, it increases the value from 100 grand to 200 grand in 10 years. You made 100 grand. You created a business that was worth 100 grand. In 10 years, it could be worth 10 million or 100 million or a billion. So businesses is how rich people get rich in America. You can do it through real estate, but it's a lot harder. Real estate is a great way for cash flow. Real estate is a great way to buy assets and to get money coming back to you every month. I use real estate to buy assets. A lot of fake rich people, what they do is they buy liabilities. A fancy car, a nice house, all those have mortgages. You know it's a liability because it drains money from your bank account every month. With real estate, with my investments, it makes money for me every month. That's why it's an asset. So as I'm building my empire, I'm an immigrant. I came to this country 6 years old. My dad had a master's in engineering in Ukraine. He has a master's in engineering. He eventually worked as an engineer, but he started working as a janitor. He worked here as a janitor for 6 to 10 years before he became an engineer. And even that was hard for him because of the difference in languages. So I'm a first generation. I'm building my empire slowly. Empires are grown through generations in America. They're not built like this. It happens. There are some people that build it like this. But for me, it happens slowly, and I'm okay with that. I love my staffing business. I'm growing it. And I love what I'm doing with real estate. And I'm growing it slowly but surely. I guess that's my little spiel about what I do with real estate, what I like to do about real estate. I'll make more videos about this if you guys like this topic. And stay tuned for my next video.